Hello everyone, Switch Developer here. I decided to do another fair video about the Young Six. What about the Young Six could have been the next elemental bearers? I did actually make a video about them. Could have been possible if they could have been the next generation of the bearers, or the bearers of elements of harmony, back in December 2018. But there is a might be risk the chance they could have been because back in season 9 finale, actually the end of ending part 2, we're seeing Twilight using with the help of her friends, the old pillars and the young six to to store to drain the magic that Tirek, Kozglow and Chrysalis had after they used the Grogoth spell. So is that a hint that the Young Six can be the next generation of the next bearers of the elements? I probably have to say yes, because if we have to go back in the prior of the season 9, where they learned the truth about the elements of harmony, especially Tree of Harmony had been destroyed by Sombra. But some unusual way, they managed with their friendship to restore the Tree of Harmony, but instead of this back to its original form, to this huge tree house, which can indicate very strongly that the Young Six are the next bearers of the elements. Because this Young Six were even had a conversation with the this spirit of the Tree of Harmony when they were found in this underneath the Tree of Harmony, the school itself, where Tree of Harmony doesn't believe that they had that friendship wasn't in each creature's nature, and was getting angry about it and testing from each of their fears, and that especially when the Tree of Harmony's spirit came to them in their dreams. So why would the spirit Tree of Harmony focus so much time on the Young Six unless they wasn't have any some sort of reason for that? Let's say if if the Young Six were replaced, but being all of this had were the same for the main six. Because the main six, when they became the next bearers of the elements, they didn't have any of those sort of things happen to them. Like, they used to found the elements back in the old castle, and they used it several times over and over to defeat Discord, Chrysalis, Sombra, but never had been any visit by a spirit of the Tree of Harmony. But it is a very strong possibility that the Tree of Harmony had grown over the years and since the main six became the bearers, and that since time passed, the Tree of Harmony began to growing more consciousness, and that at some point it had grown a sentient mind to be developed, grown into this spirit, and so that since somehow the Tree of Harmony had chosen the Young Six as the next bearers of the elements, even though the elements were long gone destroyed back in early season 9. From what I can understand, it is a very hint that the Young Six are the next bearers of the elements of harmony. Even if they were without the elements itself, probably would never be. It is very likely that those elements unlikely will never be restored, but they have been showing same magical aspects inside themselves as they represent each of the elements, because they doesn't have necessarily had to have um, a cutie mark to represent back about that. Because when I made the video about if they could have been the next bearers, I talked about what if since they were if they want to be the next bearer. So since we know that the main six had their elements shaped after their cutie marks, and since we know Sandbar is only opponent of the Young Six, so he could handle form of his cue mark, but the others don't even had one, or they never had any. So that is very likely that the maybe it is that the body staff are made of this of Hasbro, and that they decided maybe not that the elements itself is not necessary to be used. What if the young sex can still represent the elements of harmony without the elements itself? That friendship is the magic inside, as the Twilight mentioned in season 9, episode 25. So I believe that the young things are the next bearers of the elements, even if they don't necessarily have been using the elements of itself. So may ask, why do I think that the young things can be the next bearers? What if they had to be in another century or perhaps another millennia before the next bearers to be found? Because Because of that, when we know that Celestia and Luna used the elements for first time was 1,000 years ago when they used it against Tiscor the first time, but they also knew at the same time period when Celestia forced to use the elements against her own sister. And since after that, both of them had lost their connection to the elements, which made the elements to be dormant for over 1,000 years in the old castle. And that after 1,000 years later, the main six used them to restore back Luna to her old self again. And that means they over the past say 8 seasons they used the elements, but they had to restore the Tree of Harmony to be able to do that. So would it be then taken another 1,000 years before the next barrel of elements to be found? Maybe, but that is not also not necessary to be happening, because the possibility for it to take another millennia to find the next spirits, it doesn't have to be that long. It could have been only been a couple of years, maybe like 5 or maybe 6. Let's say for only maybe 1 or 5 years until the next spirits can be found. And it doesn't necessarily have to be ponies for all of them to wear the elements. It can be any creature, like dragon, hippogriff, yak, and even a griffin. So that means very, very strong hints that that the young sex are the next bearers of elements. There is a very strong hint in that. In my theory, it's believed that they can be the next bearers. So I believe that. I really believe they are the next bearers. So if anyone have their own opinions or their thoughts about this, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, this is Switch Nablo, over and out.